because he has a plan for you. Some of you aren't even from the valley. You're from somewhere else. You find yourself in the valley, and you've been complaining. Well, it's too hot over here. Too smog, too foggy over here. Well, there ain't no major thing over here. You're tripping. You should thank God that we let you come in here. You're in our home. Well, you're tripping. You're in our house.
Come on.
Now, I'm not saying that like we're better than anybody, but doggone it, you're here. Flow the program. Let me give you some advice. Be willing to leave the familiar methods without disturbing the essential message that God is trying to give you tonight.
Come on.
Be willing to leave the familiar things of your life to go to a place that is uncertain and there's no guarantees. I came here with no guarantees. I didn't even have a car when I came to Stockton. I didn't even have a house to live in when I came to Stockton.
Come on.
Then when I finally moved in with Jesse and Linda, that's right, I said their name, Jesse and Linda. It was a whole nother world of ministry in that little house there. When I finally got a house, I didn't have furniture. We lived on the floor for about a year. My kids thought they were camping for a year. Because they slept on the floor in sleeping bags. They thought they were in camp. Well, this is a permanent campsite for y'all. They loved it. They didn't understand it. They loved it. Are you willing to change the familiar and the secure things that you got right now?
Come on, preach,
for the sake of God, putting you in the center of His will? Are you willing to give up some of the comforts of things to do what God's called you to do? Or are you still kind of hung up on your things? I don't know. I'm grateful for my things. I told my wife the other day, I'm willing to sell my motorcycle. And I rebuked that thought fast, but I was willing to. When we get into purchasing something, I'm willing to do that. If I want to make a pledge for $10,000 and I got something that I can do to get that because God's will is more important to me, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing because my wife and I realize something, that this is our life. Let me tell you, I'm going to give you a couple of things that will help you. When you allow yourself to be fully engaged, that this becomes your life. Serving God becomes your life. And when you're in ministry, your ministry becomes your life.
Yes.
Look at this sax player here. These are only two of several that he has. He's got one for every day of the week. He's got a big one, bigger than some of y'all. He's got little ones and medium-sized ones. He has flutes. I'm sure he's got a harmonica back there. He's got a sound room. He still goes to school to learn how to play because it's his life. He travels different places and plays in concerts because it's his life.
Come on.
You never see him complaining. He'll travel to LA to practice, to go to practice for an event and come back for church on Sunday morning because he loves doing what God's called him to do.
Come on, now.
Do you love your ministry like that? Will you be willing to invest in it and do all that you can to make it better than what it really is? Do you purchase books and learn? Do you actually get yourself so like you take ownership of it?
Come on.
When you do that, you not only will that ministry be blessed, but God will bless you. He will meet every single one of your needs. Now, Jesse is a cool guy, but he be having stuff because he gives his life to the Lord. He gives his life to the ministry that God's called him to do. These pastors have given their lives to where they're at in your city. They've given their lives to that. They've taken ownership of that. That's why you're here tonight. And what I'm asking you to do is to be willing to go to the place that God wants to use you in dramatically. I think some of you, God's calling you to a deeper place. A place of surrender and sacrifice. Can I be real with you? Not that I won't, but I'm just sounding nice. It's a blessing when pastors see the disciples doing good. It's a blessing to see them change. It's also a blessing when they want to do more for the ministry. I love when sometimes they'll come and they'll give me my coffee and they'll know exactly how I like the coffee. I know it's a small little funny thing, but it's important to me in the morning. You know what I'm talking about. You're mad too in the morning. But when they get it right, You're like, oh, come on in here, let's talk a little bit. You want a fellowship now. But if they get it wrong, go home. Go talk to the director. Let me give you a couple of things that'll help you. Number one, you need faith.
Come on.
You need a person, you need to be a person of faith. Not faith like we always have heard it, but you need the faith, that unusual faith. You need the principle of faith. You need to understand that it's the faith that will compel you to believe when everything says not to believe. God has given every one of us a portion of faith. Now, that doesn't mean that some have more than others, but some have let the faith illuminate their life to where they can see differently because of that faith. The word in Hebrews 11 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The word substance means realization. It means that faith is now the realization of things hoped for and the evidence. And the word evidence means confidence. So you have realization and you have confidence. When you are a man or a woman of faith, you have reality in front of you. Even though it's not there, you know that it's there. The evidence or the confidence of that will motivate you. For example, if your loved one isn't saved, you have to look at them now as if though they're saved. And when you walk home, if your spouse is not saved, instead of getting mad at them, give them a big Kool-Aid smile and a big hug and laugh and say, I thank God that you're saved. First it's going to freak them out, and that's good because you catch them off guard. Then you open up the door to start praying for them. And one day, you're going to walk into your church, and you say, that's my lady. That's my man. That's the one that God has blessed me with. You know, when you live by realization of faith, there's nothing impossible for you. Tell your neighbor that. Nothing's impossible for you.
Nothing is impossible for you.
Tell them again. There's nothing impossible for you.
Nothing.
Okay, how many of you want things, but you don't got them? He's
hitting on this time.
Y'all should raise your hand.
Nothing being impossible to you.
How many want good things, but you can't get them? You haven't got them. Good things. Good. How many want crazy stuff, then you can't get them? I know, like a big screen TV. Amen. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, I waited like 7 years for my church to buy one, my leaders to buy one, and it took them like 15 years. They never did. I bought it myself. I got tired of waiting. Anyways. There are things in our lives that we have settled that we will never have. Because that's the way we believe. We have settled inside that this is it. This is as good as it gets. Now there may be little spurts of blessings, and that's kind of like what keeps you happy. But I want to proclaim to you today that you can have all that God has desired for your life if you will just simply believe. I believe Pastor Manuel's going to have a mega church. I believe that. I believe that little city over there, that his church will make an impact in that city where he'll be the talk of the town. Come on, man. I believe that. I see that. I see that. I see that Pastor David is going to have grace and favor to reach gang members. I see that. Real gang members. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but God's anointed him for that. He may not even know that, but God has anointed him to walk up together. He can walk up to a gang